Welcome in, my fellow fitness enthusiasts, to today's fitness challenge, fitness instructional video, coming to you from Revision Training LLC. My name is Tyler Marin, and I will be your instructor for today. We've got a really good video for you today, something very near and dear to my heart as I get a wee bit older. Comment in the video section here and let me know how old do you think I am. Anybody who posts anything over 24, I'm blocking you. No, I'm just kidding. So as I get a little bit older though, this is such a really important thing I find for me, and I wish I had known when I was earlier in my athletic career. I'm talking about myofascial release. Recovery time, guys, recovery time. So we're gonna go through some great foam rolling techniques for you. I'm gonna talk you through why this is so important, what it does for your body. You guys are really gonna like this, and it should be mixed into anybody and everybody's routine. So, real quick, introduce myself to you. I am Tyler Marin. I'm owner of Revision Training LLC, where our mission is to bring fitness to you guys in an accessible format. So whether you're sighted, whether you're visually impaired, doesn't matter. We're gonna put it in a format and audio description, video feedback that is accessible for everybody, a good universal design. I'm a motivational speaker, I'm a personal trainer, and a 3-time Paralympic athlete. So I've been around a little while, and I'm super excited to bring this instructional video to you guys. So let's talk about this. What is myofascial release? Why is it so important? What is going on? Okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys something. Exercise in its rawest, purest, direct form is bad for your body. Okay, now don't pause the video there. Don't jump up and be like, well, he said it's bad for my body, we're all done. Where are the Doritos? No, we're not. Don't stop there yet. But listen to what I'm saying, okay? Exercise in its rawest, purest form is actually bad for your body. Why? Well, exercise is a stressor, okay? Exercise burns, rips, tears your body down. It breaks your body down. It's a stressor on your body. But your body is a beautiful machine in that when it gets those types of stressors, and exercise is not the only one that happens in your life, your body reacts to that and builds up and becomes stronger because of that, okay? So think of exercise as like the Godzilla of the little Tokyo town, right? The little Japanese village. Your body is this little village. Godzilla comes in and he's gonna rip everything up. He's gonna knock buildings down and then go back into the ocean. Well, your body is that little town, that village. It's gonna rebuild and repair, right? And it's gonna try to build up a little bit stronger. We don't want Godzilla coming back in and ripping us up again, so we're gonna build up a little stronger, a little sturdier. And so what myofascial release, okay, or massage or foam rolling, like we're gonna show you today, it all kind of does the same thing. Think about that as like clearing out the debris, okay? So when we exercise, we break our body down, Godzilla comes in and rips up the city, there's debris scattered everywhere. There's inflammation in your muscles, there's micro tears, there's adhesions. As the muscles start to heal up, they can bind together. So we wanna use myofascial release to break up those adhesions, to clear out the debris, and allow your body room and resource to rebuild, okay? Repair and rebuild is everything when it comes to exercise. Exercise breaks your body down. Recovery allows you to become fitter and stronger. Now there's other things that you do for recovery, right? Good nutrition, giving your body the building blocks that it needs to rebuild that city. Good sleep, which allows your body time to rebuild and repair. So myofascial release, foam rolling, massage, all along the same lines of helping your body to repair. So let's talk about some of the different things that you can do. Now, there's different tools that you can use in order to get the job done, as it were, okay? Best thing that you can do is go to a massage therapist, right? If you have access to somebody who can work on the muscles for you, perfect, right? But not everybody has access to a masseuse every day. So thus comes in the idea of self-maintenance using something like a foam roller or a tennis ball or any number of things that can be used to help break up those muscle adhesions. So what I have in front of me, I've got actually 3 different foam rollers just to kind of give you an idea of some of the things that you can find on the market. This is the most common one. This is going to be a short foam roller. This is a dense black foam. It's probably about 12 inches in diameter. In circumference, about 6 inches in diameter, give or take. And it's only about a foot long. It's a very narrow one. You can buy one of these on Amazon for very, very inexpensive. It's just a dense foam roller. Now this next one that I have in front of me, this one's a little bit more high end. It's hollow in the middle. It's got a hard plastic core, and around the outside is a tough foam that is dimpled. It's got like knobs and nodules on it that are meant to simulate fingertips, kind of pressing into the muscles as you roll across this. So a little bit more expensive, a little more higher end, a little more durable, a lot of benefits that you can get from that. This third one that I have here, this is a little bit smaller, okay? So the circumference on this is probably somewhere around 6 or 7 inches, a diameter of about 3 inches or so. This one actually vibrates as well as rolls, right? So it's dimpled, you can roll across it, it's got that tough foam surface, but it also has a vibrating function on it too, so you can kind of get a double massage and myofascial release all in one shot. So tons of options. Again, you can use other things around the house. You could use a dowel rod, you could use a rolling pin, you can use a tennis ball, a baseball, a lacrosse ball. There's lots of ways that you can roll your body out and help break up those muscle adhesions, okay? So today, I'm gonna show you just some basic techniques. I'm just gonna use one of the foam rollers that I got here. I'll just set the other ones aside. And I'm just gonna show you some basic techniques, some basic how-dos to roll yourself out. But a lot of this comes down to how tolerant are you of this process, right? So if you're very new to massages or rolling out, you're gonna be very tender very quickly. So there's not really a direct, like, hey, you need to roll for X amount of minutes and you need to do it in such a pattern. It's kind of feeling it out. It's becoming more in tune with your body, feeling out how the muscles move and release as you do these techniques. But I'll give you a couple of basic rules of thumb and then we'll go from there. So follow me in this. If this is something that you have at home, if you have a foam roller, you can follow me in this video. If not, very easy to find some of these online, get them ordered from your local fitness store, pretty easily done. So let's start off at the lower part of the body. We're gonna start off with the calves, all right? So I'm gonna set this foam roller flat on the floor and I'm gonna sit on my bottom and I'm gonna have the foam roller underneath essentially where my ankles are, my Achilles tendon, okay? So I'm sitting with my legs straight out in front of me. I've got my hands on the floor right by my hips, okay? My elbows are straight. I'm just kind of sitting up as tall as I can. My legs are straight out in front of me, but again, the roller is kind of underneath my calves, underneath my Achilles tendon. So what I like to do as I'm doing this rolling technique is I think that rolling very, very slowly is gonna be the most effective, okay? So think about 1 inch per second. That's kind of the general rule of thumb, right? So I'm gonna start with the roller all the way down by the tops of my heels, by my ankles. I'm gonna push my hands in the floor, so I'm lifting my buttocks off the floor, okay? So the only thing touching the ground right now are my hands, and then the only other touch point I have is my ankle, behind my ankles on the roller. And I'm gonna kind of very, very slowly, I'm gonna push myself towards the direction of my feet, which rolls myself across the roller, up my calves, very, very slowly towards the back of my knees. And as I get a little more forward, I can pause for a second, kind of move my hands, reshift, and just keep rolling right across the back of my calves, up to the back of my knees. And then I'm gonna go back the other direction. I'm gonna plant my hands in the floor. I'm gonna pull myself back. So as I roll across this roller, as my weight rests on top of this roller, what's happening is the roller is pushing back into my muscles. I'm going very slowly and I'm going back up again. I'm pushing back into my muscles with the roller, which is gonna press them down. It's gonna push out all of the inflammation, all of the tension. It's gonna help break up those adhesions in the muscles, right? So again, there's not like a perfect rhyme or reason. You don't have to turn your hands any particular direction. It's just propping yourself up on your hands and pushing yourself forward into this movement. And I've seen a lot of people do this in different ways, right? It's about being a little bit creative in how you're doing this rolling process. So just whatever feels comfortable for you, whatever allows you to get some pressure into those calf muscles to roll them out. So let's go ahead and move just a little further up the body. We're gonna go to our hamstrings now. So it's essentially the same thing, except I'm gonna start with the roller right at the back of my knees, okay? My legs are straight out in front of me again. My hands are on the floor. I've got my buttocks on the floor. I'm gonna lift my buttocks up. I'm gonna keep my legs straight, and I'm gonna slowly roll along the roller so that it pushes up towards my buttocks. I'm gonna go right up to my buttocks and a roll back. Very slow, back to my knees. So again, I'm sitting on the roller essentially. And as I push myself across it, my weight pushing down into the roller is gonna force the roller to kind of push back against me, right? Newton's third law. Anybody good with that? I know, I'm kind of a geek. So it pushes back into my muscles, and that's what's gonna cause that muscle break up. It's gonna say, okay, this is a lot of pressure, and any of the inflammation, anything that's stuck in those muscles, any fibers that are kind of gummed together are gonna break apart and start flowing in a little better pattern, okay? So we worked on the calves, we got the hamstrings in now, rolling up and down the hamstrings. And you can even turn your toes so your toes point in towards each other, get a little bit more along the inner edge of your hamstrings. You can put your heels together and turn your toes out and get a little the outer edge of those hamstring groups, your semimembranosus and extensor femoris. Ooh, I'd have to look that one up again just to be sure. Biceps femoris, there it is. Yeah, again, I'm a geek, what do you want? So roll out those hamstrings. So good, we got the back of the calves, we got the hamstrings. Let's go ahead and take a look at our glutes next. All right, so we're gonna get up on the roller. Okay, now literally, I said before, I was sitting on the roller, but the roller was kind of under my calves or under my hamstrings. Now literally I'm sitting on the roller, okay? So the foam roller is directly underneath my glutes here, underneath my buttocks. Now when I roll out my glutes, I like to do one at a time, okay? So I'm leaned back on my hands, just like I was for the other exercises. I got my left leg straight out in front of me, but my right foot is flat on the floor. I got my right knee bent, pointed up towards the ceiling. I'm gonna turn just slightly so that my left glute is sitting directly on the foam roller. Okay, so I'm not pointing my chest straight up to the ceiling. I'm just turning slightly, ever so slightly to the side, turning to my left. So now as I roll forward and back, okay, very, very short movements, okay? Your glutes are big muscles, but they're not super long muscles. So as I roll forward and back, I'm gonna get pressure on that left glute. So as I'm rolling out this left glute, here's another thing you guys can do. When you find a super sore spot, right? So I'm kind of rolling from the bottom of my buttocks up towards the top again. I'm kind of tilted just a little to my left as I'm staying up on that left glute. If I find a spot like, oh, right there is a really tender spot. As much as this is no bueno, it's no fun, all right? You're gonna stop and just rest there. Take a couple deep breaths. You can kind of wiggle your hips just a little bit. This is a really good pressure point, okay? When we talk about massage, this is what they'll refer to as like a pressure point where they're gonna stop, they're gonna hold, they're gonna dig their knuckles or fingertips or whatever they're using into that muscle, trying to force it to let go, okay? So you can do the same thing with a foam roller or with a tennis ball or whatever it is you're using. Find a tender spot and just kind of stop and let it rest there. And you can think general rule of thumb like 30 seconds or so. But again, as you do more of this, you become in tune with your body. You can actually feel that muscle kind of release and let go as you do this rolling, okay? And then you can start rolling up and down again. once you feel like you've got a good amount of rolling done on that one side, turn to the other. So now I'm gonna extend my right leg straight out, so my right heel's on the floor, my left foot is flat on the floor, my left knee is bent, my left knee pointed towards the ceiling, and I'm gonna kind of tip my hips to the right a little bit so it's my right glute just focused on sitting on the floor, or on the foam roller, I should say. And again, this is all about just being a bit creative, guys. Like, if you're like me and you've got tight glutes, you can do this in a ton of different ways. You could actually sit in a chair while doing this. Again, sitting on the roller in a chair, moving back and forth. You could do this, again, on a tennis ball or lacrosse ball. Whatever kind of works for you. Whatever you can get that comfortably presses into that muscle and gets that right amount of pressure. And clarification, you know, this shouldn't really be like, ooh, ow, 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 super painful. That's not it. You want to feel uncomfortable. You want to feel that pressure point. You want to feel the muscles release. But this is a recovery tool, not meant to torture you so much, right? So we got our calves, we got our hamstrings, we got our glutes. We're going to flip around and get the front of our legs now, our quads. This one is going to be just a little bit tender in my experience. So be prepared for this one. I'm actually going to kneel on the floor. Okay, I'm kneeling down. I'm just kind of sitting back on my heels a little bit. Toes, knees touching the floor, sitting back on my heels. I'm sitting up. We're going to set the roller right in front of our knees. And then we're going to walk our hands out and almost in like a push-up type position where my hands and my toes are touching the ground and the roller is right underneath my thighs, okay? I like to come down to my elbows on this one, but again, it's all in your preference. You can be up on your hands if you want. You can do from the elbows like I'm doing, but right now my elbows, forearms, hands are on the ground, my toes are on the ground, and the roller is directly underneath my thighs. So I got my feet kind of close together on this one because I have a short roller. And it's the same thing. I'm just gonna kind of crawl my elbows forward. I'm gonna roll the roller down to the tops of my knees. And then I'm gonna slowly push myself all the way up, try to roll up to my hips, and then back down again, slowly rolling across. I've got my toes kind of pointed back behind me, so that allows me to keep my feet off the floor and put a little more pressure into my quads, into the muscles of my thighs. But, you know, again, you can have your toes resting a little bit on the floor. That'll help take some pressure off. Here's another one, just like the hamstrings, where I can turn my toes out, put my heels together, turn my toes out. This is gonna get the inside of the quads just a little bit more. You can turn your toes in, put your heels out. That'll get the outside of the quads a little bit more. Quads being your thighs, your quadriceps, the front of your legs. Just slowly rolling up and down. This is definitely gonna be kind of tender. So another thing that you can do, and I'm gonna show you also this same technique for the next movement, you can also double up your foam rollers, right? If you've got two of them that are essentially the same size, you can roll across both of them. You'll get some pressure that way, but you kind of share the stress between the two rollers, and that way you can get some of this work in without having all of your weight down on one pressure point. So doubling up the rollers can be a nice way to lighten the tension just a little bit if you're very tender. Now this next one I'm gonna show you, okay, so we've got your calves, your hamstrings, your quads. Let's talk about your IT bands, iliotibial band. This is the outside of your thighs. This one for most people is crazy tender, okay? If you're a runner, pay attention to this one because most runners have IT band issues. So what we're doing with this one, and again, you can double up the roller, or if you only have access to one roller, totally fine. What we can do is set ourselves up so that we can take some of the weight off that by using your opposite foot. The rawest way to do it is I'm literally gonna lay sideways on the roller, okay? So I've got my left hand on the floor. Well, I've kind of got both hands on the floor, but it's my left hand that's propping me up. I'm facing towards you guys. I got both legs straight out. And the roller is underneath my left hip right now, just below my hip bone, my greater trochanter. And I'm going to kind of lean down, put my left elbow on the floor, my right hand on the floor, and I'm gonna slowly crawl my way up towards my head, which means I'm rolling across the roller down to my knee and back up. It's literally rolling up and down the outside of my thigh, which is just crazy tender. This is a very, very sensitive part of the body for most people, okay? So what you can do, because rolling out your IT band is so helpful, again, especially if you're a runner, you can take your top leg, okay, instead of it being straight out and flush with your bottom leg. So right now my left leg is my bottom leg, it's on the floor. I'm gonna take my right leg, my top leg, I'm gonna bend my knee, I'm gonna put my foot kind of flat on the floor out in front of me, okay? So you gotta kind of twist your leg up a little bit. But with that foot flat on the floor, as I do this rolling, now I've got 3 points contacting the ground. I've got my left elbow, my right hand, and my right foot, and I can put a little more weight into my right foot and keep some of the pressure off of my bottom leg, my left IT band as I'm rolling out, okay? So this is a great way. Again, as you're moving, you gotta kind of adjust yourself a little bit. As I move up, I'm gonna kind of move my feet and hands so I can roll all the way down to my knee. But I'm telling you guys, if you have the opportunity to roll out your IT bands, it's gonna be so helpful for you, okay? Couple more that we'll get to, and the rest is your imagination, is working your way into finding different ways to roll out different muscles, but showing you the primary ones today. So another one that we can do, rolling out the inside of your leg, inside of your groin essentially. We're going to actually turn the foam roller parallel with your body. So the whole time we've been doing this, it's been perpendicular to our body, right? It's gone long ways in front of us. Now you're actually gonna turn it so it's going the same direction that your body would go. You're gonna be down kind of on your hands and knees, but I've got the foam roller by my left knee right now. I'm on my hands and knees, and I'm going to put my leg over top of that foam roller, my left leg. So what do I have going on here? I'm working my way down to the ground. I've got my elbows on the floor, palms on the floor, my head and chest are up. My right leg is kind of flat on the floor, my right knee, the top of my right foot flat on the floor. But my left leg is bent and it's out to the side, okay, so it's pointed kind of towards you guys. And the foam roller is underneath my left groin. So the inside of my left foot and leg are pointed towards the floor, and that's where the foam roller is, okay? If I put the foam roller right underneath my shin, it's going the same direction as my shin. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm down on my forearms, I'm down on my elbows, I'm gonna scoot myself to my left, and as I scoot to my left, that foam roller is gonna roll up the inside of my thigh, and then I scoot my hips kind of back to the right, and it rolls back down to my knee, okay? So on this one, I'm literally rolling sideways, and I have my left knee bent out to my side with the roller underneath my leg, so it's pushing into my groin, my gracilis area, helping roll out the inside of the thigh. Super good for your body, okay? So we're targeting all these different muscle groups, helping release muscle adhesions and tension in the group, okay? Couple more for you, and then you guys will be good to jump in and try this out. The next one that we're doing, we can actually roll your back, okay? How many people, you wake up in the morning, you're very stiff, you get some chronic back pain, you can actually roll out your back with this. One of my absolute favorites. Now, again, caution for anybody who has chronic back issues, always check with your physician before starting new exercise. You guys know that, we've talked about that. But I want to clarify, don't just jump right into this if this is something that might cause you undue stress in your spinal column. But generally speaking, if I am sitting on the floor, I've got my feet flat on the floor, my knees bent. Again, I'm leaning back now against the foam roller. I have it right underneath my lower back, right underneath my lumbar. My arms are straight, my hands are behind me, but I've got them kind of spread out just a little bit. And from here, I can pick my hips up off the ground and just kind of rock back and forth, rolling out my lumbar, rolling out my lower back, okay? So I'm still sitting up pretty high. I'm just taking my time, adjusting my hands and feet a little bit. I might shift around a little bit, but I'm just taking my time rolling out the muscles in my lower back, okay? And then from there, once you feel like you've got that, you can roll up even farther. So now I'm gonna bring my hands into my side. I'm gonna roll the roller up to kind of my mid-back level. So now my arms are resting on the floor at my side, my feet are flat on the floor, my knees pointed towards the ceiling, and the roller's kind of under my middle back. So I'm looking up a little bit more at the ceiling now. I'm gonna lift my hips off the floor, and I'm gonna roll down so that the roller comes up towards my neck, and then I'm gonna push back up again. So I've got the roller kind of going across the back of my shoulders right now, mid back to upper shoulders, not really coming all the way up to the top of my neck. So I don't wanna put that much pressure in my neck. I'm just gonna roll kind of along the mid part of my back. Just nice and slow and controlled. My hips are just a few inches off the floor. Feeling good, allowing the roller to kind of press into my back as I'm doing this movement, okay? So taking your time with that. And again, when you're doing the neck, for example, here's where having something smaller like a tennis ball can be really great. You can put that tennis ball underneath your upper shoulders, and you can lay on that and have that kind of press into your neck. What I would recommend though is imagine your spinal column right in the middle, and along the side of your spinal column on each side, that's where you have these large ropey muscles, the erector spinae, that run along the side of your spinal column. Really, it's your erector spinae, the muscles along the side of your spine, that you're trying to foam roll and press out. So if you're using something small like a tennis ball, you typically want to put it just to the left or just to the right of where you feel your spine to help knead out those muscles. Okay, so just a little tip for you guys when you work with the spinal area, okay? Foam roller is just gonna kind of target both of them at the same time, but a smaller object like a tennis ball, you wanna go left side, right side, working across the spinal column, okay? That's about it. There's a couple other bonus ones that I could throw in. Rolling along your lats, for example. There's many ways that you can roll out. There's some smaller intricacies in rolling out the glutes. So many things that you guys can do, but I think you've got the basics down, okay? Sometimes Godzilla is gonna come in and rip apart the city. You need to do everything you can to give it good building blocks to rebuild, to give it time to rebuild, and to help clear away the debris, okay? So I appreciate you guys. Like, comment, thumbs up, share this video. I am so appreciative of you guys sticking with me. I hope this helped you, but I want to hear from you. Let me know how this worked for you. And as always, from Revision Training, let's change the way we look at it. You guys make it a strong day.